Good day, boys and girls. We are now going to look at examples, writing code in Delphi. I'm looking at the first example. Create a code to input a password. So the first thing is we need to input a password. Remember, we underline keywords. We read and underline keywords. So we're going to input a password. We're going to display a message, password too short. When will that happen? If the password is less than 8 characters. So we're going to input a password and we're going to check if it is too short. So your variable declaration, we're going to input a password, so we need a variable spass. Now, how do we check if a password is too short? You will have to look at We'll have to look at what is given. We've got an insert and delete. That doesn't help us much. Right, we have these functions. We've got concat. We don't need that. We have length. Length will give you how long the string is. Now this one can be used to see if the password is too short. We don't need position and copy. So when you're given a question, you need to look at which possible functions we can use in that example. So here we need to work out the length. So we input the password. There's your password. You input your password. Now we work out the length of that string which contains a password, and we store it in length. So your variable here is length. And we now check if that length is less than 8, then password is too short, else password length is valid. You could put any message here. The main idea is to say that the password is too short. So if the length is less than 8, then we'll say the password is too short. So the main idea here was the length of the password. And we also had to input. And using the length, we can now check if it is less than 8. The next question. The question says, create a program to input. So there's another input here. Input a person's full name. Full name is name and surname. So there's one input. And you need to input the gender, which could be a male or female. And they give you a sample run. Your input is Harry Potter. See? It's one full name, and you have another input which is gender, which could be male or female. So inputs are restricted. Now the question is extract the first name only, and you need to display in uppercase. Then you also need to extract the first letter of the gender, and you want to display in uppercase. So one at a time. We need to input two things, person's full name and gender. So we need two input boxes. So we need two variables to store. So we have an S full name and S gender. Those are the two variables of type string. You'd have done that first. Then there's your two inputs. And here I specified so the person knows they have to enter male or female. Now your next part is extract the first name only. So in your sample, always use a specific example. How do we extract the first name? How do we know that the first name ends here and the surname or the second name starts thereafter? We're going to assume the person has one first name and one surname. So what separates a first name from the surname? It's a space. So I found the position of the space in full name. And once you find the position of the space in full name, we store it in IP. So this position here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's on position 6. So if I want to extract the first name only, I can copy from 1 to 6. Actually before 6, because I don't need to copy the space. So your first name is you copy from full name from the name that they entered. There's your full name. From 1 to before, IP -1, before the space. So remember, if the space is 6, you're going to copy it to position 5. So you get from 1 to 5, and you get Harry. And we need to convert it to uppercase. And if you look at your functions on the top, there's your uppercase. What we convert into uppercase? The first name. We created a variable to store your first name, because you copied from your full name, your first name, Harry. You need to put Harry somewhere. So we need to store it in a variable S first name. So you declare a variable S first name, which is omitted from here. So you declare a variable S first name. Convert that first name to uppercase. The next one says extract the first letter of the gender. The first letter of the gender means you only need the M. Right, we only need the M. We only need the M from the one that's input. So there's two ways. One is you can copy from gender 1, 1. You copy from gender 1, 1. We copied the M and we converted it immediately to uppercase. It can be done. Now here I copied and I stored it in S first name, and then I converted S first name to uppercase. I stored the first name and then I converted to uppercase. You can copy and convert at the same time. This is possible. You can also get the first letter by saying S gender square brackets 1, because we had at one point showed you can do this. You can get it with the S gender, your string name, square brackets 1 will give you the first letter. Or you can copy from 1, position 1 character. And we now display the first name and with the space and the gender. And you'll have Harry space M. The first name, space, and the M in capital, all converted to capital. Those are 2 examples done. We have some application here for you to try. We've got 5 applications to try. To debug, it would be nice to type these programs first. Remember, S first name is missing from here, so you need to include S first name as one of your variables. You can type this and you can check how the program works and then attempt your application. You can send errors and I will correct.